And welcome back to this portion of our Real Estate Radio Hour. Guys, let's go to the phone. John in Hastings is first up here. John, you're on the show. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good morning. Say, I'm working with a realtor, and he told me about getting a home warranty. And it sounded like, right, that's kind of the right thing to do, I guess. I'm not living in the house, and I'm not going to live in the house for a while yet. So I thought, oh, this would be safe. And then when I had a home inspection done, I was told that the water heater is probably going to go out pretty soon. And talking with my realtor, he said, well, contact the people with the home warranty, and they would be more likely to want to go in there and fix it now before you have any problems with it. Well, called the home warranty people, and they said, no, that's not true. Your water heater has to be in good condition when you buy the house, and then if something goes wrong with it, we'll come in and fix it. So I'm just kind of wanting to know your feeling about the home warranty people. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. I'll tell you what, the home warranties, they cover you in different ways. And,
there's no real magic pill, though. Do you agree, Chris?
Yeah, there's some that are good. When you're listing a house, we offer it to our sellers. And you do that because a lot of the warranty companies will cover them then during their listing period if something was to break down at that point. Yeah. But when you buy one, I'm sure they want it, and I'm sure this is what it reads, but that they're expecting everything is in working order. And if it was to break down in the next 12 months, then they would take care of it. I would look at,
if I were you, John, I would ask your real estate agent to provide you with maybe 2 different companies that he would refer or she would refer. And read the fine print, because a lot of those warranties are out there are good, but they have that, trip charge of $75, and so it's not necessarily free, and it doesn't catch all. Making sure, like pre-existing conditions, like that water heater, now you kind of exposed the problem, and they may not cover that now under that warranty. So just explore all options with that. That's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we said we'd come back and address the selling of farm acreage with no buildings. I know, Andy, you just did one. Yeah. So maybe a little insight. That's all we got for the question. But
what I would say is, and if you want to text in more detail, that'd be great. Acreage land right now is actually very desirable. There's a lot of people out there looking. I've definitely seen the change, though. It used to be guys like, the developer that would knock on the door in the urban areas here or suburban areas, and they were looking for development. We still are seeing some of that where there's some areas being redeveloped, which Chris and I have a little experience with there too, in certain pockets. But when it comes to agricultural land, it's hot. I mean, a lot of the farmers have had in Minnesota, and not everywhere, of course, I realize that, but there's a lot of last couple of years have been very good, and they have the extra money, and that's why you're seeing land prices. I just heard of a deal down towards Marshall, where the dirt sold for $12,500 an acre for farmland, and that's
in Marshall.
Yes, wow. And right now that kind of the average price down there is $8,000 an acre down there for good farmland. So everything, it's across the board. Now you take that same farm, and a couple years down the road, let's say it's ready to be developed, it might be worth $100,000 an acre. It just depends. It's all economies of scale. So if you have more details, please send them in. We'd love to help you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. I'll tell you that land is something that you're always gonna, do well on.
And they're not making more of it, right?
Right. Absolutely. So it is selling. But
hey, I tell you what, I wanted to share with you guys. If anybody that's out there that is into the iPhones or apps or whatever, I thought I'd give you a good tip for those with children. One of the apps I've been using is called Great Schools, and you can find that right on the Apple Store. It's a free app. So you're in an area looking with your real estate agent for houses, and maybe that agent isn't familiar with the school system or whatever. You hit this app. It shows you the schools. It has the ratings, has their websites. It's fantastic. It's really cool. And then for those of you that are renters, or if you're an investor that owns rental property, we've got another app called Walk Score. And what happens is it takes your geographical location, shows all the rental properties around you immediately for rent, but it also scores it, because the whole idea is that you want to walk everywhere and not have a car. And so it actually shows you restaurants and closeness to buses, and it's Walk Score. So anyway.
That's awesome.
Enjoy it.
If you have a real estate question, 651-989-9226, or you can send a text at 81807. Connie is calling from Malacca, Minnesota with a question. Connie, you're on CCO. Thank you.
Yeah, if I signed I sold a piece of property. I signed the purchase agreement, but nothing's been done yet. If I just to change my mind to cancel on that purchase agreement, can I do that without any fight with a realtor?
I'm sorry, I missed the start of that. You've agreed to a deal, but you haven't signed it?
I agreed to a deal, but I've changed my mind on selling a piece of land.
Okay.
And I did sign a purchase agreement, but the closing isn't until sometime around the end of December.
Oh.
But I've changed my mind because...
Talk to an attorney.
On that one, you'd want to talk to an attorney because you've signed a purchase agreement, and it states in there that, you know...
But no money is exchanged hands.
Correct. But the agreement is signed. I mean,
are you I was going to say, are you the seller or the buyer?
I'm the seller.
You're the seller. Okay, so you probably have some form of earnest money that's been given?
No, nothing has changed hands other than my signature on the purchase agreement.
Did you agree to have some earnest money deposited?
No.
Oh, well...
Yeah,
on that one, have an attorney.
Yeah, it's kind of a broad question without us seeing the contract and stuff like that. You know, and I'll tell you what, if it was my seller that was contemplating that, I would want them asking me as the realtor. Mm-hmm. You ask me, and you know, we talk about it because they do have to work. I mean, we have a fiduciary responsibility to work in your best interest at all times.
Think about this too. This will sound like a sales guy, but those of you listening, you have to appreciate the fact that these guys are working. Doing all of their job, generating the business and actually bringing that client to you or advertising or whatever stimulated that person to make that offer, that's part of our job. So in a lot of ways, that realtor has done their job. And if you're trying to be fair about it, maybe you offer that agent some compensation to help for what they've done so far if you change your mind. I think it's the only fair thing to do.
All right, 651-989-9226, 651-989-9226, or send a text at 81807. We'll be back with more of the Real Estate Radio Hour here on 830 WCCO.